Hi, I'm Drew.
And I'm Sam.
And welcome to Drewling Samantics.
Mate, it's that time again!
Oh, indeed it is, buddy. Honestly, one of my favourite bits of the season. Time to look back and choose our favourite guest highlights.
And may I say, Drew, it's been another blinding season, hasn't it?
Interesting facts, fascinating anecdotes, hilarious stories, shocking revelations. Our visitors have certainly delivered.
Yeah, and what a talented bunch they were. We kicked off with my old chum, amazing drummer and pit musician, Robin Payne.
Now, he was followed by the very beautiful and extremely gifted Colleen Daley, who popped in to talk to us about kids' TV, voiceover, commercials.
Yeah, lots of stuff. Perhaps our most travelled guest was next, the fantastic Freddie Brandes, who had many stories of his creative escapades from all over Europe.
Well, he was followed by another chap who's explored lots too, although in his case, it's usually whilst on a cruise liner. Paul Burley chatted to us about ships, holiday parks and magic.
Yeah. Our penultimate visitor was someone we've both loved working with, the wonderful Tim Nixon, who explained to us how starkly different his previous career was to the performing that he's doing now.
And the sixth and final addition to the season was the brilliant photographer Brian Worley, whose stunning work, absolutely wonderful stuff, he left us both speechless. I mean, even some of the pictures he's taken of you impressed me, Sam.
Yeah, we've said all those lovely and true things about our guests, and yet you've still managed to find a way to get a little dig in at me, haven't you, mate?
Look, you know that I'm only joking. But enough joking, enough of that. Let us dive in and check out some of the highlights. Ladies and gentlemen, we bring you Drewling Samantics, Season 13, Best of Guests.
Sure, yeah. So I'm half Welsh, half German. So my dad is Welsh, my mum is German, and I lived in Germany for 20 years. Was born there, moved to Wales for a bit in between, moved back. Now I'm back here in London. Well, not back. Now I'm here in London.
Now you're here. Brilliant. So, and I understand you did some training out in Germany as well, didn't you?
Yeah. So I decided when I was 20 years old that I was going to go to opera school.
As you do.
As you do. Yeah. Well, I wanted to do classical singing. The only option at the conservatoire I was at was with opera, and then I did that, and then I discovered within the first few weeks that actually my favourite part about it is the acting classes.
Quite an obscure route to go to acting, to become an opera singer, I guess. Not necessarily the normal route, but whatever works, I guess.
Yes, yeah. Well, I've met a surprising amount of people who've gone that route since. But yeah, so it's opera is you have to love it. It's great. I envy opera singers. That it's an incredible skill. It takes a lot of years to train for it. It's not for me. But I still love being on stage. I do still love singing every now and again. And so that's how I sort of swerved off from opera into musical theatre. And then I haven't really done much musical theatre in the last 3 years either. So I've sort of gone more into acting.
What sort of steps did you take? So you, as you said, you quit working on the tubes, or you retired early. You did your sort of year of travelling with the wife. Then how did you then instigate sort of going, right, now I'm going to do this acting lark properly? So you said you joined extras agencies. Was it just extra work you took on to begin with?
Well, that's what I initially thought I was going to do. Join a load of extras, and I thought the work would come in. I thought there's loads of work for extras. No, there ain't, because there's so many extras. There's thousands of them. They're all chasing and the amount of work I've had as an extra is minimal, really.
Wow.
If I get 5 or 6 days a year, I'm doing well.
Wow.
It's not regular at all, but that's not a problem because it's not really what I wanted to do.
No.
I wanted to be, an actor. And as I say, the first real gigs I got in 2018 was with Comedy Dining.
Wow.
Because I got taken on for Christmas because they were advertising for the Christmas rush.
Ah, I see.
Yeah.
You see, so I was pulled on with that, and our first show was right at the end of November that year, that down in Bexley Heath, down in Bexley.
Is that yes, I remember it. Yeah. So just to clarify for people that perhaps haven't been with Drewling Samantics for long enough to know, Comedy Dining is how Drew and I met, as well as how we both met.
Absolutely.
Immersive dinner theatre themed on old retro British comedy. Yeah. So and you started out, Tim, obviously, I say obviously, people may not know, but the Cockney accent being there, and I'm sure you won't mind me saying the height was fairly ready-made as well.
Absolutely.
As Drew did, although Drew had done previous things as Manuel, you were both Del Boys, when back in the days where we were able to perform tributes to Only Fools and Horses. And as you said, so you kicked into that. Had you ever done impression work before, or even attempted to do anything like that?
No, not at all. This was all new. But I had done immersive dinner theatre with players with the Amdram Society, because we hire ourselves out. We have specific murder mystery plays, and they are plays. We actually have a stage. Yeah. It's not like Comedy Dining but we do go into the audience for questioning. But we perform these plays. So I'd done immersive dinner theatre before. So I had that experience.
When I was at East 15, in the first term, there was a big notice board, and there was a small art school next to our drama school, and there was an advertisement saying, we need models, we need artist models for our Wednesday evening group, and 2 hours, £10 fully clothed, £12 unclothed. Yeah. I mean, this is 1990, yeah. And of course, we're all skint students and thing, and some people going, oh yeah, I'm going to do it. And I was going, well, not with your clothes off though, not doing it with your clothes off, are you? And then a couple of them were like, yeah, of course, yeah. But, oh, I'm not doing that, no way. So I did go along, to get my tenner for 2 hours, and I did do it fully clothed. And but by the time we got to the third year, we'd lost all our inhibitions, and we were fighting over the nudie one. Yeah. Or, no, you did it last week. It's my turn to do it this week. And I did it. Artist model. I was great. And then I was thinking, right, this is something I can do then to earn money. So I phoned up some other art schools in Whitechapel and said, do you need any artist models? When I left drama school, that's what I was doing, a little bit of that. Wow. But it does make me laugh to think that I was, no way am I doing that ever. But third year, stripped of all inhibitions, gagging.
Because we've got so many things on cameras and computers that help us these days, very often people start off with a very basic camera and you have to learn the basics. Maybe that's why people get confused now, because they haven't learnt the basics.
Yeah, I think some of that's very true. I mean, I started, let's say, quite a lot of years ago when film cameras still existed. And I shot from the very early days as a kid. And I was kind of amongst my friends at 15 and 16 years old, I was the guy with the camera. Right. And that kind of carried on for a long time into when I left university, and I worked in an engineering company in the time. But I was still, photography was still very much like a hobby or an interest, as you tend to put on CVs in those days. And so I was shooting 150 rolls of film as an amateur photographer in a year. So, I was doing a lot of portraits, model type photography, but also a lot of motorsports photography on film. That was the joys of being a single guy, I guess, at the time. And then I decided, given I wasn't that focused on engineering anymore, and I fancied a change because of the role I was in. I was literally all over the country, Monday to Friday, Monday in Cornwall, Tuesday in Glasgow, Wednesday in Hull, that kind of stuff. So I decided it was time for a change of life. And I applied for a job as you used to do on the Times on a Thursday. And so I'm going to give my age away now. And then literally I went for an interview with a company and they were interested in my skill because in the control system industry, I was a specialist in networking. And at that days, network stuff was fairly new. And they were interested in doing network to photocopier type products and printers.
Wow.
But when they got literally to my CV and the last line is hobbies and interest, and in there was photography, they said, we have a similar role, or we have basically the same role in another group. We haven't yet decided what it's going to be called. We think it might be computer input devices or something. Maybe you fit better in there. What do you know about cameras and photography? I said, well, I gave them the same sort of story, 150 rolls of film a year. Yeah, we think we'll put you in there. And that company happened to be Canon. And literally...
Wow, okay, there we go.
So I then started work at Canon in Canon Europe. Day 2, my boss came to me from Japan with a document. He says, I've just got this from Japan. It says on the front it's in English. I've looked inside. I'm not sure. You better go study that. We're going to launch it in Germany next year. And that was the first of Canon's digital compact cameras.
Wow.
No way.
And so literally from that kind of point on, we're talking now late 95. My job was effectively to launch digital cameras. And I always tell camera clubs that my job was to kill Canon's film camera business. 15 years later, I decided that I had achieved my goal. The film business was largely dead. And so I decided now go and work for myself. So that's been 15 more years since then, pretty much.
So I initially wanted to go into university only because my friends went off to university. It was Winchester. And I auditioned for there, and there was a place up in Scotland I went for. But then there was two other colleges that I went to. One of the colleges that I auditioned for, I can't really say their name, but let's just say I went there, and they were basically just like all clones of one another, and I'm not one of them. As you can hear, that I was not the background of being there in the jazz tights ever since I was 8 years old and doing ballet and blah blah. My upbringing was very different, and yeah. So when I was at the audition, so my dance teacher told me, before you go, make sure you stand out, right, and wear something that makes you stand out. So and you'd think, yeah, I mean that makes sense, obviously, yeah. So I turn up, and everyone set the scene. We're about to start the dance call, and everyone's got their pin badges and blah blah blah, and everyone's all in black vests, black very tight jazz trousers, and the Capezio split sole shoes and whatnot. And then I rock up, and I've got Slazenger jogging bottoms. I've got some cheap Asda George trainers, and a Superman top, because I wanted to stand out. And as we're doing funny enough, when we were doing the dance call, someone's pin flies off of their top, and the pin sticks up. Now, me being me, I stop the choreo. I'm literally just about to do my double tour, and then I see this pin. So I go over, I close it, whack it in my pocket, and then final score, boom, like that. And then the choreographer says, I'm glad we've got Superman to save us, which got a big laugh. And in my head, I was like, oh, well, they certainly remember me. Yeah. I didn't make it through to the next round.
Oh, okay.
Robin, lovely to meet you, mate. Thanks for doing this. And I'm really glad you're here, because usually old Git is aimed at me. So yeah, we can split the pain this week, if you pardon the pun. That was an unintentional pun.
Yes, but then again, depends on whether you get pain from children.
I'm not going there, mate, for fear of incriminating myself.
Yeah. But yes, so we are joined this week by, for those of you watching on YouTube can see, and anyone listening, the dulcet tones you're hearing are the very talented Mr. Robin Payne. A good friend and colleague of mine, did a tour together last year, which I'm sure we will get more into very shortly. But when I say I did a tour with you, you sort of alluded to it there as well, that you don't really sort of go forefront, stand on the stage, everyone look at me. I think the simplest way of describing what you do, mate, is saying that you sit at the back and hit things.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, because hitting people is frowned upon in polite society.
So you found an outlet that wouldn't necessarily get you arrested.
No, I mean, I have an outlet for my latent anger issues. Well, they're not that latent, really. But...
no, they're quite obvious and forefront when it comes to.
And not only that, I'm very fortunate to have a group of sponsors, which means not only do I get to hit things for a living, but I get to be given the things that I hit and hit with.
People send you things to hit.
People send me things to hit. Yeah, I mean, it's great.
Right, enough of our sort of cryptic and ridiculousness. Mr. Robin Payne, can you explain to all the Drewling Samantics listeners and watchers exactly what you do, how you got into doing what you do, and why you do it?
Yeah, I'm a musician, basically. And, well, saying I'm a musician, I'm a drummer. I'm not even going to pretend that I'm a percussionist. I'm a drummer. People say to me, "Oh, you're a percussionist," and you go, "No, I'm not. I'm a drummer." And it is a completely different thing, because percussion is lots of vibraphones and xylophones and glockenspiels and timpanis, and I just hit drums. And I do it because it's the best thing in the world, in my opinion. I was basically started off doing student movies, so I've got the experience, and of course you get to know people as well. And then it started getting better, not better parts, but better paid jobs, so to speak.
Yes.
And there was a few plays as well that I put myself forward for and got involved with those. And it sort of built from there. And you end up kind of networking in a way. And of course, because it helped with Callan Durrant.
Yeah, friend of the podcast.
With Call Me John.
Been on the podcast, yeah.
Yeah. Doing Call Me John last year and the year before.
Yeah, of course, which we promoted on here, being that I'm on the board of directors for the company for Reflex Theatre and was involved in the writing of that. A huge collaborative effort in that kind of company. But again, going back a bit, so you were doing your extras jobs, you were doing comedy dining. Can you remember what your first sort of big role in a film or a short was? Can you remember the one that sort of started the ball really rolling?
It was a film called The Regulars.
Right.
And we did a week's night shoot at a pub in Brickenden in Hertfordshire. And the guy called Rory Edwards, it was his I think it was his master's, his final year film. And it was like a zombie ghost story. And he takes his son back to this pub where his missus disappeared. His lad's mum disappeared years ago. And it's a comedy.
Right.
And it was a great shoot. Great fun. Hard work doing the sort of 6 nights. And that's the one that kickstarted it all, really. And I did couple more after that. But that was probably one of the best ones. And it's still on my show reel.
Okay, so I am the voice of Fizz in The Tweenies, a programme that began airing in 1999, and we filmed 360 episodes at Elstree Film Studios.
Wow.
Yeah, and recorded 4 albums as well. Yeah, it was an amazing time. Yeah, it took up 4 years of my life. When actually in the 4th year I did do a play with another member of the Tweenies. But that's it. I am Fizz. And it was brilliant, actually. Yeah, I had performed in a pantomime at the Belgrade Theatre in Coventry with Ian Lachlan and Will Brenton, and who are the writers and producers of Tweenies. And then I was lucky enough to be invited back the following year. I played Girl with Bucket the first year. And I performed her. I only had 5 lines, and I also came on as Lady Toffee Nose Smythe and some other characters, But I was a village girl who met the prince before Cinderella in the woods, and I was in the programme. It says Girl with Bucket, Colleen Daley. Yeah,
Fantastic.
So yeah, that's it. That's how I started out, and actually I was so lucky because they really gave me license to sort of, it wasn't until the run, I did it the same way every time in rehearsals. But then when we got into the run, they were really good fun. Ian and Will were playing Ugly Sisters. Again, Ian Lockton, Will Brenton, writers of Tweenies. And I didn't even ask their permission, actually, which now I sort of think, God, I was very cheeky, wasn't I, really? I mean, I was confident, But I just decided to do her differently every night. So I was from the West Country one day, and then I was Irish, then I was Scottish, and I had my hair in different styles. And one time, I thought, I'm so clever. I wrote it all out in Cockney rhyming slang, all my lines. I did say, oh, yeah, that instead of the sun, I was like, oh, yeah, you like the currant bun then? And I just don't know. But how lucky was I? They let me do that. Anyway, and strangely, even after that, they asked me back to play Good Fairy in Sleeping Beauty the following Christmas. And it was one evening in the bar, towards the end of the run, that Ian and Will started talking about a programme that they were pitching, an idea for a programme. And they said they wanted to do a pilot. And they said, you do voices, Colleen, don't you? Do you want to try out one of the voices? I didn't really know what it all meant. I just knew that this sounds like a job opportunity. So I said, yeah, what sort of thing do you mean? He said, just, I don't know, tell a little story, read a poem, whatever you like. Just do a couple of various children's voices. So I thought, okay, well, how am I going to do this? I didn't have a phone that recorded. I think I had a massive Nokia at the time. And then I asked the sound guy, Steve, for the panto, I've got to do this voiceover thing. Can I record it tonight at after the show? And he was like, oh yeah, well yeah. I mean, after I've had a drink, and a relax. So literally about 11:30, I went up to the sound desk at the back and the top of the theatre. Climbed over various bits of drum kit and loads of leads and all sorts. And I had written out, a funny little story. It's a true story. My brother and I just I told this little story and I did a few other little voices. And then to cut a long story short, they liked the voices. And Bob Golding was also on the pantomime. Who's doing very well. Has been playing Eric Morecambe. He's in New York at the moment with The Last Laugh. And Justin Fletcher, who is Mr. Tumble. A very successful career in CBBS. So the three of us were all asked, and the three of us were all chosen to do the pilot. And then after that, it was all kind of, the cogs were in motion. And then I was told, yeah, you're in. And I didn't really know what to tell everybody. I said, well, I'm going to be doing this programme. I don't really know what it is, really. I'm doing a voice. What are we going to see you on telly? Yeah. Well, no. Because I don't think because apparently there's some puppets in it. And I don't think, I'm not in the puppet. I don't think I'm in the puppet. Am I in the puppet? Maybe I should find out. But anyway, it was all really exciting, but none of us really knew what is it, this programme.
I was on cruise ships on and off for 5 years, and I've been able to see everywhere in the world apart from North America, Antarctica, and then the New Zealand, Australia area. But other than that, I've seen everywhere. So I'm very
a bit in the middle.
Yeah. I was very fortunate to be able to see the world. It was an amazing experience, and I'd definitely implore anyone that was thinking of doing a cruise ship to do it, even if it's just for 1 or 2 contracts, just to, I think, not only to experience being on the ship, because it is a lot of fun, but mainly you can travel. And I think, like I said about gap year and people find themselves, and I had a little joke and whatnot, but genuinely, when you do go to a different area, a different place, and see beautiful places, but also seeing a different culture, it put things in perspective. When we was in Vietnam, and one of my favorite moments was going along Ha Long Bay and just that boat ride and just looking around, and I was like, it's absolutely beautiful here, and majority of people will never experience this. And I got a little bit teary-eyed, that I was fortunate in order to have that opportunity. But also, you come off this beautiful set, and then you come in, then you see the slums of where they're living. You have little kids that they don't have a phone. They don't have a tablet and all these gadgets and whatnot. They are quite happy, quite literally, having a little kick around outside or they've got some rocks and throwing it. I mean, we used to do it with pennies. I've forgotten what the name is. You flick the penny and see how close you can get it to the wall. And yeah, and they just be doing it with with like little stones and stuff like that. Happy as Larry. Don't know who Larry is, but they're just happy doing their own thing. So I was very fortunate being on the cruise ships to do that. And on there, I actually worked my way up. I started off as a singer dancer, and then I worked myself up to being the dance captain. And then at one stage, for a brief moment, I was able to be the dance captain in the shows, and also I was able to be assistant cruise director as well.
Excellent.
So and then I realized it was so much admin, and like I said at the beginning, I'm not very good at that. So I was like, I think I need to step back. So yeah.
I think the thing is that there are, let's say, someone who's modeled a number of times and has an interest as a model tends to be easier to work with, in all honesty. Someone who arrives with a preconception of, I never like the photos people take of me. I'm here because somebody told me to be here. That's the hardest people to work with. Yeah. And part of the task is to kind of basically get rid of all the technical side of photography from them, because it's about them, and it's about making them relax and about making them feel at ease with the situation, so that you can then get them to become a little bit more natural in front of the camera. And so models per se, the ones that you can find from model agencies and things like that, who are used to rocking up, delivering the looks, doing what's necessary, and going home, that's relatively straightforward. Yeah. The paid artists in that side of it, definitely there's lots of great ones out there who are phenomenal at what they do, and it makes the job from a photography point of view in some ways a little easier. Whereas when it's just literally somebody has been with the worst one, I've been told by my boss I need a new headshot. And they want something that's an upgrade from a security pass photo.
Yeah. But still look like a deer in the headlights sort of thing. When, oh my God, there's a camera on me. Yeah. But
security pass photos are the one shot short of the photos of people going into jail. So
when I lived in Germany, I started doing some musical theatre while I was still studying opera, and I worked with some great amateur and like semi-professional companies, and that's sort of where I first got into both being on stage and helping organize beyond that. And I had a very good friend of mine, and she was in a similar position, and she'd moved to North Germany, and she'd started her own musical theatre company, and she invited me and a bunch of other people up to go help her perform. It was Peter Pan, Stars and Drew's Peter Pan.
Oh, nice, yeah.
Which is a very, very, very lovely musical. And I was supposed to cover for Peter and one of the other kids, something like that. I didn't have to, luckily. But it was, I was on the start and the end as on the ensemble, and I helped sort of organize some of the stuff behind the stage. And sort of from those experiences, I decided, okay. And she then wrote her own musical, which we performed there, which was really fun, really great. And I then decided, you know what, I'm going to do that too. So I moved to Scotland, because I wanted to study some musical theatre in the UK, because that's what I was interested in, was doing UK musical theatre, because there's a lot bigger industry and there's a lot more going on, and there's a different style of acting and so on and so on. And I was in Scotland, and then I decided, okay, you know what, I want to write my own show.
Again, as you do, I'll do that.
Well, I knew a few people who had done it, and I worked with several friends who'd done it. I was like, if they can do it, how hard can it be?
So I've got to ask them, Freddie. I mean, when you say write your own show, you compose as well. I say compose. You write the music, lyrics, book, or the whole thing.
with my first one, I wrote the whole thing.
Show off. But brilliant. That is brilliant.
Yeah. So I had been applying to master's courses in musical theatre throughout the country, and for one of them, for the one at Royal Conservatoire of Scotland, they want you to bring something you made yourself. And I was like, oh, no problem. I'll just bring a song from my show. Problem was, it was the night before, and I hadn't actually started writing anything in my show yet.
Yes.
That's how I wrote the first song for my musical.
I sort of fell into doing drama productions because I did drama A-level, which I never finished, at Stratford College with Gordon Vallins, who's the man who invented theatre studies A-level. Wow. And as I only live 11 miles down the road from Stratford, Gordsky is a very good friend of mine. I've done an awful lot of shows with him, including a fabulous version about 20 years ago of The Threat and the Opera at Leamington, where I did it when I was 16 with him, and then I did it later. And he came up to me holding this lady by the shoulder, and he went, "Look, Robbo, real whores, real whores. Yeah, none of you nubile 16-year-olds like we did it last time. These women have had a life."
Wow. I'm sure she was thrilled to be described as such.
I mean, they all loved it because they all think the world of Gordon like we all do. But it was just so wonderful. He was so excited about somebody that actually looked like a Weimar whore, who'd obviously had a tougher life than a 16-year-old nubile girl who looked extremely pretty when I was 16. You know, dressed in.
Women look pretty when we were 16, mate. Sometimes, if you take bits of our conversation out of context, it can be a tad shocking. I think Robin provided us with a prime example there.
He was full of all sorts of crazy stories. And to be fair, all our visitors have plenty of shocking and entertaining tales. But, Drew, before we hear some more, I need a refill.
Right, drink topped up, sir?
Yes, mate. Nice and refreshed.
Good. Now, I think we ought to clarify for anyone who happened to jump in at that exact moment, either in Robin's episode or in this one, that ladies of the night aren't a regular topic on the podcast.
Good point. Although, this next clip doesn't really help support your statement, mate.
I was playing a whore, actually, in my first year at drama school.
As you do, yeah.
As you do. And of course, I'd just come out of convent school, 18. I was quite pure. And then my drama teacher said, right, you've got to get out to Soho and get down the back streets and watch the girls who are hanging out the shops. And basically, she sent me there. She paired us up. And, I was paired up with someone who was a lot more streetwise than me, lovely Sally. And that's what we did. And then we went to King's Cross as well. And we were sitting, basically spying on them. But watching them, looking at their body language and how they would dress, how they behave. So we could, have a more authentic, I could have a more authentic performance anyway, more grittier performance, And that was quite funny, actually, because we asked a couple of the sort of recycling guys who were around, who we'd seen talking to them, and we went to sort of ask them some questions about the girls and everything. And then we said, we're going to be sitting in the cafe over there, but we're going to be watching them as well. And then later he came in and said, listen, the girls have been asking questions about you. They want to know if you're undercover detectives. And I thought that was so exciting at the time. I was 18. I was like, oh my God, really? He thought we were detectives. Oh my God. I thought that was just brilliant. I was so happy that they thought that.
Is there anything from that past career that has? Can you dial into that at any time? You must have met. You've driven hundreds of thousands of people around. Have you met characters and know characters that you go, I can use a bit of him in this, The
amount of characters that I've worked with, certainly in the old days, because they got rid of some of... When I started on the Underground, they were so short of staff. They were literally... You walk past Griffith House, you were bonked on the back of the head, bag over the head, dragged in, you were working for the Underground. Pretty much. That was the joke. That was the joke. They if you could stand up after a couple of sentences in English, you were employed.
Wow.
Then later on, as they wanted a better quality of person, which is understandable. I mean, there are people that I was working with, they never get the job now.
Wow.
But there are some real characters. But of course, there's always incidents as well. There's always certain things that happen.
Yeah.
That, you know, they shape the rest of your life.
So,
kind of thing.
So without obviously being too specific and pushing you too much, did you have, were you unfortunate enough to have many incidents that...
I had one fatal accident.
Wow.
And that was, it wasn't someone who jumped under it was a track worker who didn't get out of the way.
Right.
I come round the bend, it's still there. So, and that, June the 23rd, 1994. So we come up to 31 years.
Yeah.
So those sort of things always stay with you. I won't go too much into it, but it had a great. No. It wasn't a pleasurable time. So and it stays with you for the rest of your life. But I know people that had 2-3 suicides. You know, because it's a regular thing. Unfortunately, it's at least 1 or 2 a week. Even now, still, you hear about it.
So opera has to be in Italian to get to that first. Depends on who you ask. If you're a very Puritan opera person, then you'll say yes, opera can only be in Italian, and opera died in 1850. But classical music is full of these fun people. I once knew someone who said any music composed after the year 1600 is not good. So yeah, whatever. Anyway, so to get back to the languages, I did have to learn some Italian at the Conservatoire as part of my training. I had to learn modern day Italian and sort of 18th century Italian, which is minimal differences in pronunciations and I remember none of it. Buongiorno. That's
it.
Italian.
That's all you need.
But so the important thing is to learn how to pronounce things. So to see, okay, I've got this text here. If I can get it 98% right, then I can go to an Italian friend and say, is this the way you pronounce these things? And that's good. And I did my last audition for something like that about 2 years ago. I haven't looked back. But yeah, that's a handy skill to have, because in opera school, the languages you tend to cross are Italian, French, German, English, and some people also Russian. I never did anything in Russian because there's a lot of Russian composers. And then occasionally there's some like Hungarian or whatever. But opera is composed everywhere, in all languages. And so that's sort of, but the only things I had was French from school and German and English, really. And then I'd learned a few words of Welsh in primary school, but that doesn't really count as a language I know. But I've always liked languages. I've taken probably about 6 weeks each of a vast array of languages throughout. Either it was like an opportunity at school, like I when I was in 5th year, I learnt Japanese for half a year, and I still remember 3 words from it. But
I did some safaris when I was at Canon. We did them as trips for press, largely to launch products.
Yeah.
And I think the first one, I actually went out for a long weekend to Kenya to recce a potential site and things.
So it was a weekend in Kenya. How long was the flight?
It's only, you get on the flight on, was it Thursday night, and get off on the flight Friday morning, and then helicopter down to the Mara, game drive, lunch, more game drive, sundowners, back in, balloon flight Sunday morning, breakfast in the Mara, more game drives. Think of something like that, and then a bit of something else, and then fly back on Sunday night and back in the office Monday morning.
Jesus.
I've got a philosophy. It's called it's literally just 4%. And people look at me weirdly. What on earth is 4%? 4% is actually 1 hour of 24 hours. I didn't think it was much of a thing. If you tell someone use 4% of your day on something, it doesn't seem like a lot. So I would use that 4%. I'd use an hour of my day, and I'd learn myself a new trick. And I just did that over and over again, whether it would be stilt walking. So I just randomly, I saw, what was it? We had stilt walkers coming in the park. And I was like, I want to learn how to do that. And my friend, he said, well, I can teach you. I went, all right, when you free? He said, Tuesday. I said, cool. Hour? Brilliant. And then I learned how to stilt walk. Same with juggling as well. I said, I want to learn how to juggle. So I bought myself some juggling clubs. And some juggling balls and rings, and I just gave myself an hour, no phone, all shut away, and I just added that.
What are you referring by appearances Gary Swale on Last One Laughing on Amazon Prime, episode 5, where I spent my time sitting in the kitchen drawing certain items of the human body.
You did indeed. Yeah,
and then became Ollie Mears.
Yeah. How did that come up? So, and we won't explain it completely, but people, Tim told you where you can find it. Go and watch it. Tim plays a cameo role of someone on a show who is then going on to. It's basically a copy of Stars in Her Eyes, isn't it? Essentially, everyday man who has a very strange habit or interest,
a hobby
to be a singer. Watch it and you understand. How did it come up though? That is the.
It was through one of my agencies I'm with, Talent Talks. They put out a casting call for it, and I just said interested and available, and they cast me.
So this wasn't even an audition based one. This was almost as a featured extra.
Did I have to do a self? I can't remember if I had to do a self tape. No, I think they wanted me because the other guy. No, I can't actually because the spoiler alert. But
there's someone else involved who was already cast, I assume, at this point.
Well, I don't know. I don't know how that went. But we were in the green room because I had to go down on the first day and go to the location and film that bit in the kitchen. And Joe Wilkinson was in the garden. He was rolling up. He said, Tim, this is just fantastic. You're just brilliant. Following day, we're actually taping the show. Yeah. Because I only met Joe. I didn't meet any of the others because they didn't know I was there, obviously, because they're about to go and make them laugh. And I've watched it since then. And Jimmy Carr was in absolute stitches. But this was because, it was round about last July. We filmed it.
Yeah.
And it got broadcast first of about March or April. And all of a sudden, I've got all these messages from all over Facebook, Messenger, WhatsApp. Everyone going, brilliant. Have I just seen you? Seen you on the telly doing those? Yeah. I had somebody, Vicky, from the War of the World. She's in Australia with her fella. She said, nailed it, mate. So watched you in Oz.
Wow. I heard about it because Callan, who we mentioned earlier, he messaged me and he said, you'll never guess what Tim's been doing on national TV, or more specifically, you'll never guess what Tim's been drawing on national TV. And that, I think, is pretty much all we need to say on that.
Absolutely.
No more spoilers required. People, go and watch it. Tim, remind us where we can find it again.
It's on Amazon Prime. It's Last One Laughing, and I'm in the 5th episode.
I mean, watch the series. It's a great series. Very clever idea.
It is a clever idea.
If you want to see Tim doing, I mean, I've had some weird castings come into my inbox. Did it say exactly what it was in the casting? No. Oh, no, okay.
I had no idea until I got there.
Wow. Okay. Yeah. We literally can't say anymore because it gives everything away, and we really want people to go and see it. But to be last question on that then. When you got there and you had no idea, and they said this is what you're going to be doing, you must have thought they were pulling your leg.
I thought, well, this is weird, but What the hey?
Yeah. The majority of the time when you're performing in a musical, you, as you keep saying, are in the pit. You've got the orchestra pit. So be that three of you, MD, keys, one guitar and the drums, or be a huge orchestra of, I don't know, 20, 22, 24 people, depending on the size of the show and what's required. But as with our tour and a couple of others I'm sure you've done, there are occasions where you are not hidden away. Is it an enormously different experience to be a band that is visible on stage as part of the show?
Yeah, for a start, you can't pick your ears and,
You've got to behave yourself, haven't you?
And you can't sit there, sort of checking your phone, which people do now, or reading Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy or books. I used to sit in the pit and read books, and the MD would sort of go, and you go, oh, I'm fine.
Oh, I'm off.
It's all right. My dog's suddenly woken up now. I've tapped the table. Magics, go back to bed. Go on. And yeah, I mean, you do that. If you're visible, then you have to be visible.
But do you prefer it?
No.
Okay.
I like being in the pit. I like the safety of a pit.
Yeah.
The anonymity of the pit. Yeah.
Yeah. But you say that. I mean, I was doing a couple of pantos. Not going to say who they were for, but I did long runs of pro panto shows. 6-7 weeks, and in the first time I did this, the first year I was up there doing this, I got there and to find out that I was the band.
What?
There was me and a computer.
You and a click track.
So, yeah, me, a click track, and everything else was on computer.
Yeah.
Wow.
And then I was handed a list.
Sound effects.
These were the musicians that I had to remember their names.
What?
Yeah, they didn't exist. And I'd have people meeting me at the stage door, because we did have a phenomenal lead actor and singer involved. And I'd get people meeting me at the stage door going, oh, I didn't think your saxophone player was as good tonight. And I'd go, oh, Jerry, he was having a bad day.
There was no one there.
It's me, a drum kit and a set of headphones.
Oh, that's hysterical.
I work with a choir in South East London, actually leaving them very soon, which is sad. But it's a German church choir. So there's a German church in South East London. They have a choir, and I've been conducting them for the last 4 years, which has been very nice and very fun. And they have this big anniversary coming up, and I thought, you know what, I'm gonna give back a bit. I'm gonna compose them some music because I like them and I like working with them. And then it's just going to be a small concert within the congregation, and then I'll be happy and everyone else is happy. No one need ever hear about it. Anyway, but then things sort of came together and stacked onto each other, and then the next thing I know is I get a message from our pastor, who had been asked to do something for the BBC, and she was like, we want to have your music in the radio church service that we're doing. And I was like, oh, okay. Okay. we can do that, sure, yeah. And it turns out it was actually really easy. All they did was they sent over a sound technician with 2 mics to one of the rehearsals. And then we recorded it. And me with my tiny 10-person choir. And then that got broadcast on BBC Radio 4 Sunday Worship with Tom Hanks, who was on the same programme speaking a poem.
Just drop that one in. Just drop that in there, Freddie. Oh, we sang to do this with Tom Hanks. That was. I love the little boom name drop there. Beautifully done. Beautifully done.
Unbelievable.
Is there still artistry in photography? Is it been diluted by the technology, or can you use the technology now and create something amazing that maybe you
absolutely
couldn't?
There's artistry there, and I think perhaps to me, I kind of look, and you look at the the greats of whatever genre of photography you look at, it doesn't matter. They all have some ability beyond the standard expected stuff. You take a football photographer, they go to a match, they've got all the pictures of all the goals being scored, all the people in the right place, because that's what is needed to be delivered. But they've also got these incredible pictures of the stadium and the whole environment that other people have just gone in to get the action pictures. They've got all that because that's what they do, but they've also they have the creativity and the ability to go beyond and show a whole bigger side of the sport than just somebody's tackled somebody.
Yeah.
And I think that's what means, and the AI can perhaps help you get a lot of the standard pictures, but the AI is not the creative one in terms of moving your backside elsewhere in the frame or in the venue or whatever to get a different viewpoint.
Yeah. I was hoping to say that. That's good.
Yeah.
Is there? I mean, Sam's asked you if there's a favourite shot. Is there one thing you think I would love to shoot that? I mean, obviously it might be motorsport, but is there a thing? What would be your bucket list?
The Holy Grail shot.
Yeah, the Holy Grail. Wait, yeah.
That's hard, really, to say, because I mean, I've been fortunate to do quite a lot of interesting things over the years for a variety of reasons. So, a specific bucket list shot, I don't know. It'd probably be something involving people. It would certainly be more likely to be a model shot, to be honest with you, than a sport or an action or an event one. But as to what at the moment, I'm not 100% sure. I mean, like I said, I've been fortunate to do some of the ones that I actually would have perhaps put on that list. I have already done some of them. So it's kind of like, what's next?
You've worked with me, mate, and we know that is on everyone's like Holy Grail list.
Absolutely.
I am that legendary.
So probably Drew's next then.
Mate, I mean, if you can work with this, and then you are good.
I said earlier people would recognise your voice. A lot of people would probably recognise you, and again, may not realise they're recognising you for a slightly different reason. And funnily enough, it ties into your great brainwave dating right back from when you were training, and you found a little outlet to make a little bit of money. And we've sort of gone full circle because you're in. You know where I'm going now, don't you? Your inhibitions, obviously, you kept that ability to not really mind. There's a little commercial that people may have seen, an advert that a few people may have seen you in, and seen more of you than they realise.
Yeah, but I think I know what you're talking about now.
Yeah,
I'm talking about a little bit of naked badders on a cinch advert.
Naked badminton. Go on.
Yes.
Just confirm what everyone's going. Hang on a second.
Mr. Ryland Clark. Yes. So yes, I had to send in a self-tape, not naked, but just wearing, a modest vest top and some cycling shorts, to play a naked badminton player, a nudist campsite, for a cinch commercial. Yeah, starring Ryland Clark, and I thought, this looks good. Are you okay with performing naked? Well, of course, I looked at the buyout and thought, yeah, I think I'll be all right with that.
Yes, that was the convincer.
Yeah, and so I went along, and then so I had a recall. So then I wore exactly the same vest top and cycling short, of course, that got me the recall, and then it was Paul Cataneo, who actually is the director of the Full Monty film, who directed the commercial. Obviously, he's got a line in nudity, and naked performing. And so and then I got the job, and I was very, very excited, as well as a little bit nervous, wondering how is this going to work. Yeah, but you know what? It was great. It was great. There was a girl next to me with a dressing gown. As soon as they said cut, she was there with the dressing gown. So that was good. And of course, I did have a modest undergarment on and a flesh-coloured bra until we'd done a few takes and we were getting really good at the battles. Yeah, really good. And I was a bit gutted, actually, we had to stop playing because, we were on a roll. But then the girl, one of the wardrobe girls came up to me And I was wearing my dressing gown. And it was a very hot day, luckily, when we were shooting. And she said, the production are wondering if you are okay to wear these. And just held up 2 circular gel pads. Okay. And I thought about it and then said, yeah, it's fine. It's okay. So it was, I did have to kind of just go for it, basically. And it was really fun. It was
amazing.
On a serious note, obviously my dad always said, if you enjoy what you do, you never work a day in your life, right? And I think that is so true. So that's why we push ourselves and do all these things in order to allow us to perform and go on the stage. And it's not a vanity thing at all. It is just because you enjoy the moment and because you enjoy giving those little moments. I always say, even now, if I'm doing like, party dances with the kids, if I see little kids that at the beginning of their holiday and they're extremely shy and timid, if I can just show them a bit of magic, if I can just have a laugh with them and act a little bit silly to have them come out of their shell, so then by the end of the holiday they feel better and happy and smiling and more, have more of their personality come out, there's no amount of money that can, outweigh that, So I think that's something that quite special that other people on maybe like 9-to-5 jobs, they don't necessarily get,
Such positive and powerful words from Paul there. It goes to show he truly loves what he does, which obviously goes for all of our guests, Drew.
Well, yes, the majority of us in the industry may get personal enjoyment and satisfaction from our work, but there's a very, very important element outside of that, the effect we have on others, and as Paul said there, the joy we're able to bring sometimes.
Mate, that is the perfect setup for a segue. Are you ready? Huh?
Go on.
And what a lot of joy our visitors have brought us this season, Drew. It has been a joy to have them join us.
Sorry, but that's bad, mate. That is really bad. But I don't disagree. So, here we go. Another huge thank you to Robin, Colleen, Freddie, Paul, Tim and Brian. You are all fabulous.
And next week is going to be even more fabulous, mate. It is the best bits of us.
Yeah, I'm not sure I'd use the word fabulous, but in the spirit of not dissuading listeners and viewers from tuning in, I wholeheartedly agree, Sam.
Good. Now shut up before you do put people off. Until next week, mate, have a good one.
Yeah, cheers, Sam. Cheers, everyone.
Bye. Thanks again for watching this special highlights episode of Drewling Samantics.
Remember, you can watch all our previous episodes in full, and make sure you subscribe to our channel and turn on notifications so you never miss a new video.
Don't forget, we're also available as audio only. Just search Drewling Samantics in any good podcast app. And please support us on social media. All our links and handles are on screen now.
We love welcoming new followers and subscribers, so why not share with your family and friends so they can join in too? Thanks very much. See you next time.